Hey guys, Andrew Lee here, and I felt compelled to make this video today. It's going to be a different format because it's something that I have been wanting to make a video about, and something that I do have actually a passion for is giving knowledge to the next generation. I personally don't have any children myself, and I don't really hang out with Gen Z folk right now as well too. So I wanted to reach an audience. To empower them to know what is going to happen when they decide to come into the insurance industry and give my 2 cents on how this all works and also my experiences. The reason why I'm passionate about this topic, um, even though I'm not in your specific generation or, I don't have firsthand relatability with anybody that has children that are Gen Z. What I do have is experience. And at one point, I was just like you. So I'm talking to my people that are, just graduating high school, just graduating college, just sort of looking for purpose, looking for a calling, looking for a job that's going to pay well. And this is sort of hard to find these days, especially with a lot of inundation of technology and a lot of information and just sort of the job market right now, people having uncertainties post COVID, things like that. There's been a lot that's happened, and I just wanted to give a uplifting message. This is also for my people at Kaimore. Kaimore is an organization that I am partnered up with, happy to partner up with. They're a nonprofit that does help out with the homeless in the Los Angeles area, which I'm very proud of their work. They do an excellent job. They even do taxes for people who are at 70,000 just about and under that are living in LA County. And I always refer my clients out to Kaimore. Kaimore does a very good job on the nonprofit side. And I don't really trust most nonprofits, and that's just not because, I don't believe in their cause. I just don't believe in them or the person running it sometimes, right? In this instance here, I do trust Kaimore and Joyce that runs that. Now, she requested that I make this video to help out with, again, people that are in need within this age gap. So our Gen Zs, anybody that's a late millennial, anybody that's really just trying to find their way in their teens or in their 20s. Now, a little bit about me, how I got started in this insurance industry is how everybody gets started in the industry. Nobody wakes up and says, "Hey, I want to do insurance today." Nobody does that. You get sucked in somehow, right? Somebody recruited you. You watched this video and it compelled you. You saw the money that somebody else was making. It's just, you just never ask for this work. And I totally get it. It is what it is. Insurance isn't fun and it's not sexy, but our lifestyle can be if you do it correctly and properly. Now, the thing I do love about insurance sales is there isn't residual income aspect to it, and there's not a lot of, upstart money that you need upstart capital that you need to start in this industry as well too. So I'm gonna break all this down for you. I know that was a long intro, but I mean, I just think it's incredible that there are people out there that have an entrepreneurial spirit that are young. When I was first getting into sales, I was at 22 years old. So I'm within this age gap here. So again, I don't have any friends that are Gen Z like that, but I sure as heck went through this process as well. So I can definitely empathize with your situation. I had about 5 to 600 bucks in my bank account pretty much up until, I started seeing success in my agency. I was not the best student. My grammar's not the best. You'll see at the course of this video. I am nobody special. Now, what I do have is determination, a straight line mentality on what my goals are, and the execution to fulfill those visions that I promised myself I wouldn't do. The one person I don't want to let down in this life is myself. So This is what drives me to go. And again, I respect so many of you guys that want to take the leap to entrepreneurship, and I want to show you how to do this in a more straightforward format in the insurance industry. Now, again, insurance isn't sexy, but again, it is a industry where you don't need that much overhead. Again, if you're trying to start a restaurant, if you're trying to start a consulting firm, if you're trying to start a doctor's office, a doctor's practice, you're probably pre-med, whatever the case is, there has to be some capital that goes in, right? There has to be some investors there has to be some bank loans that have you have to have a good credit score. There's a lot of, variables to start your own business. Well, in the insurance industry, all you would really need is your license, a laptop, a good decent CRM, and people to talk to you. Really. The the barrier to entry to this industry is not much at all, right? Compared to other industries. So that is a curse and also a blessing. So the curse is now you have to do all this work and you have to find out how you're going to find leads. Of course, you can have mentorship. I am one of the mentors that do mentor my agents on how they can find leads and how to find success and how to become a business ultimately. And also, there are W-2 routes. I am also hiring as well too, but of course there's agencies that do hire that if you want to get your 4 years in, if you want to get another college degree in the School of Hard Knocks, I call it, then you'd probably want to work for somebody like me that knows what they're doing and get mentorship directly in a W-2 format or a LLC format. So your mission when you were younger is to master a craft. Now, the craft that I mastered first was sales. Now, sales is not the easiest thing to master. You do have to have some kind of personality to you. You have to have an ambitious drive, and you have to have a servant's heart to empathize with a client situation and know the steps to help them. And of course, that comes with battle wounds, that comes with at bats, that comes with cold sweats, that comes with repetition. Of course, you would also reach out to a mentor and ask, hey, what would I do in this situation, right? I need to help this person now with their health insurance. What do I do? And that's sort of where we step in as well, too. But again, I know a lot of the youth now, you're at a crossroads. Do I go with plan A? I wanted to be a musician, funny enough. I got a music degree at UC Riverside. And I wanted to be a professional musician. That was my dream. But everything changes. One thing that I have realized is everything changes, especially with age, right? You have different priorities, you have different commitments now. Things will change. So what else would I do in such advent of change? Like with all these changes, like what am I going to do? I'm going to survive in there financially. I'm going to hang on to what I'm passionate about, which is health insurance, funny enough. I mean, it's really, weird to say that you're passionate about health insurance, but I'm really passionate about the help aspect of it. And then the money will come, really. But you really do need to put in your 10,000 hours into one craft, which is sales. And there's salesmanship is not a bad word, by the way. If you do it correctly, and if you know what the client is actually trying to communicate with you, as opposed to just trying to assume and look through the smoke, then you are a great salesman. You ask the right questions, you're persistent on following up to see if they still need what they need. If not, completely fine, right? Thank you for letting me know so I don't have to keep calling you. But again, that is sort of the name of the game with sales. It is just what it is. That's what we have to do. Now, with insurance sales specifically, the people that generally do well are going to be the people that have a servant's heart, the people that really have the willingness to help. You really can't teach that to anybody. You're born with it or you're not, right? You can work on it. If you have another skill that you can offer, and maybe you didn't realize that that was your superpower, maybe you need a mentor to help you realize that, and then you'll have your own self-realization, and then from there you can take off and do whatever you want, right? So, no, some people in the Kaimore program are, lower income or just again, low direction, just no mentor, not too much real world training, not too much experience in the workforce. So I completely understand your situation, right? Now, again, if you're part of the foster care kind of background, or you had a tough upbringing, single parent, you know, again, no college. I had the privilege of going to college, and again, there's no stability in your life and no income as well too. Then of course we're gonna have to get you started on some kind of career, and that's probably what you're gonna want to do eventually as well, right? California is a pretty expensive state to live in, so we're gonna do what we gotta do, right? We do have to work now. Your needs are you do need mental and emotional support in this business, right? Your mind has to be sharp. Your execution, your body. We tend to work out a good amount to keep our bodies not to look good for the Sports Illustrated magazine, but to keep our body so that we can handle all the workload that we need to handle. Again, we always try to work smarter, not harder, but there are going to be times where being in good shape will help you mentally. And also, if you do have a servant's heart, I do know that you have a spirituality about you. Now, I'm not talking about God. I'm not talking about monotheism. I'm talking about just something that you can tap into, knowing that there is something above that is guiding you into a certain direction to do something. It's called a calling, and to empower you and give you a gift to do well at that certain space. Do not ignore that sign. Do not ignore that voice or that feeling that you get from said spirituality. Now, if that is going to be your North Star, that's going to be one heck of a convincing North Star for you to follow, right? That's what I did. Now, again, if that's just mumbo jumbo to you, no worries on that part. I'll get to the actual practicality of this, but I'm just sharing some of the needs that you guys might have and how we can solve that. So, again, some professionalism we would definitely need, right? Time management, things like that. You would have to at least have common sense, common knowledge about that. And also, self-reliance is a huge, huge aspect in this business, especially if you're going to go on to become an entrepreneur. When I was 23 years old, I was creative, but it was all going into my musicianship, right? I wanted to be the best drummer. I knew every fill, I knew every, song, all of that. I had to get the right notes down when I'm playing my instruments. That was what my skill, I was obsessing all my time on focusing on that skill, right? Now, now I've transferred that to everything else in life. That was a good, Kickstarter for me. I went into door-to-door sales again when I was broke. I probably at the time had less than 500 bucks in my bank account, if that, right? Then I had to work. So right out of college, after 5 years, again, I'm nobody special. I was a super senior. After college, I started knocking doors for a certain company, right? And the f first door I knocked, I sold. And I was like, whoa, okay, I think I could do this. So you have to have some kind of aha moment. Just know that if you can do it yourself, you can do it yourself. Self-reliance is really going to kick in well for you, especially in the entrepreneurial space, because again, it's like golf. It's you versus you. It's not competing with anybody else. You're only competing with yourself when you are an entrepreneur. Now, you also another need that you might have, and I'll go more into that, but another need that you might have is trails and training sales, sorry, training for sales and licensing. So of course, that's something that of course I can help out with. And of course, the biggest reason that you should have to doing something or executing a certain task is having a solid why. Now, I know you've probably heard of people saying, "What is your why?" Or, then it'd be, "Oh, it's a Lamborghini. I want a Lamborghini." Well, after you get your Lamborghini, what's your actual why? Because I believe that material things don't give you happiness. I mean, it makes your life a heck of a lot easier, right? People look at you differently, you know. If you're into that, you'll love that, right? But what happens when the money fades, right? The great saying goes, wherever you go, there you are, right? And also, another great saying is, this too shall pass, the good times and also the bad times. So if you're aligned with a certain mission and you're locked in, that's what you call locked in. That is the recipe for being locked in. If you have all of those, no matter what you face, you will not have too many issues because you are resilient and you can get right back up on your feet and keep it moving. It is some of the people that have, you know, the day-to-day issues, and of course life happens, but here's the thing, here's the God honest truth. Life happens to everybody. Some people have it more than others. I totally understand that part, but we cannot use that as an excuse. We cannot be victims to our reality and our circumstances. Some people have a leg up over me, and I'm totally okay with that because these are the cards that I was dealt. So, because I was dealt these cards, I am going to execute harder than these people do. That's the kind of mentality we should have, right? Again, a competition against yourself. So, how do you become a great insurance producer, right? How do you become a great insurance producer? What can you offer of value? And how do you start your own business? And how do you become a hub for people to rely on you for help, right? It's not only money, but it's you're creating a community. You're creating people who are going to bat for you saying, hey, this person is good for what they do and please support their business. You want that kind of community with the residual income aspect, with the also there's other ways to make money in this industry. Some people do like recruiting and things like that. That's normally not number one priority for people in Medicare and health insurance sales, right? You're not really recruiting at first because you're not that's not what it is. You got to learn your craft, master it, put your 10,000 hours in, and then put your 10,000 hours into marketing, right? Those two in the industry are going to be the two most important things that you would have to master. There's so much information on ChatGPT, Google, YouTube for you not to get started or for you not to not know, right? At this point, not knowing is not an excuse anymore, right? We have too much at our fingertips, literally, to get this started. So, within the insurance industry, you do not have to graduate college. You do not have to have a degree. All you have to do is obtain your necessary licensing. So, any type of pre-licensing, of course, I can help out with, any of the testing, any of the fees. If you're W-2 with me, of course, I can help out with that. But if you're starting your own business, then of course you would cover all of that. You would also need to get an E&O insurance, errors and admissions, just in the case that, let's say, if you had a situation with like a client complaint or something like that, then you have insurance that'll take care of that situation for you. Most carriers are going to ask for that anyway. So the so far, you'd probably need about for 300 to 400 bucks to start a business, right? When I started, I had 600 bucks in my bank account, by the way, and now we're doing millions worth of premium at the very least, and multiple six figures for our agency. So you can get there. You can get there, and it's how fast you work, you know, how much you can get mentorship. You could job shadow, or you can even apply for paid internships. We even take paid internships as well too, and then get you familiar with the industry. And once you're ready to start your own industry, start your own business, or if you want to, join us, whatever the case is, now you have an actual role and a job that's offered to you, right? It comes with proactivity. Now, again, you can also, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have to think outside the box. So you're going to have to do some kind of weekly workshops for your clients. You're just going to have to find clients grassroots somehow. Of course, I can guide you through that, whether or not you're W-2 or 1099. We do have a mentorship circle that we do also offer as well too. Again, build community in there. Again, this is a one-on-one game. You definitely want some teammates. It can get lonely with just you and your computer and you just calling your clients, or if you're doing it face to face, then that could get a little bit monotonous. So you definitely want a tribe around you. You need to find a tribe, right? So that's where I would start off too. But again, if this is the industry that you're wanting to go with, I have a lot of people that I can help network for you. So and with you, so that they can get you going. Again, I'm passionate about this subject because, again, I was in this situation. So, more than happy to help. Obviously, reach out to me. My line here is 323-844-8471. Now, if you've mastered what you can offer, then now you have, again, like I mentioned, a career pathway. From here, it's like, okay, should I be an entrepreneur? Or should I just, stay at my W-2 situation until I'm more comfortable? Or I'm just not built for this. I'd rather just say W-2. Now you have options. Now you are choosing what you want to do as opposed to begging on Indeed or an employer for a job, right? You put in value first, so therefore now they're scouting you. They're looking for you as opposed to you having to beg for a job, right? So give offer or bring value, offer value first, and then you'd be surprised as to what follows. Um, I wanted to give a specific message to the generation below me. I swear I thought I was young, and I'm not so young anymore. So for Gen Z, here is my message to you guys. Please, if I were back to being 16 years old, up to whatever 23 or whatever the case is, so in that age, what I would really say is find purpose, please. I know that's a very broad topic and it's sort of hard to find purpose in your life, especially with social media and everybody comparing themselves to each other and, find your purpose, right? I want to help people. I want to help people. Like, let's say if you were in a position where you had a really bad accident or you had God forbid, cancer, and you want to share your story to other people, to your future clients about what you went through, and you have a personal kind of dedication and conviction to share your story, then this is the perfect industry for you, right? You're here legitimately to help people out. How good does that feel? And then you get income for doing so. So, purpose, I would definitely find your purpose and your why. It won't come day one, it will not. And this can always change too. But make sure you know your why and don't make it monetary, right? I want to help people. I need to get my mom out of this situation. I need to, whatever your why is, stick to it and grind it out. Okay. Another thing is find freedom. Find freedom. You do not have to be, you do not have to do what people tell you to do all the time, right? If you're just getting out of school, right, or college, there's a recess bell, 10:20. Come back at 10:20. You got 15 minutes to play and get, your exercise time. Come back. You got to be within the system and, do all that. If you're an entrepreneur and you're learning and you want to do health insurance, but you're stuck in US history or what is that? The study of bugs. I remember I had to study bugs in college. I was like, I'm never gonna entomology. I'm never gonna use entomology ever in my career, right? So ch- I'm not saying don't go to college or anything like that. Of course, get your education. Funny enough, the person that recruited me was my one of my dorm mates in college. He's actually the one that put me on to insurance. So I'm not saying that there's no purpose to going to college, but I'm saying don't let it get into the way of you going directly into this if this is what you want, right? There is no insurance school, unfortunately, right? It's trial by fire. It's baptism by fire. It's going through the reps and having a mentor holding your hand saying, that's okay. You failed here, but here's what you did right, right? You need that kind of clarification and clarity just so that you can do the next job better, the next call. And then all of a sudden, you're an insurance agent. All of a sudden, you're finding success. All of a sudden, you got the know-how to start your own business. So I would encourage you to pursue freedom. Okay. Um, Choose when and where you want to work, right? Please look for freedom. Purpose, freedom. Again, you know, money goals, that's not going to completely be your why most of the times, but money goals, of course, are going to be a huge incentive as to why you want to do insurance, right? Why the heck would I be in the insurance world? But I heard they make good, decent money there. Um, you should have some financial goals, obviously, 5-year plan, whatever the case is. But in your case right now, if you're starting off, it's your first car, it's your first apartment, it's your first um, iPhone, it's your first whatever you had, right? Or whatever you need to do to get yourself out of a situation you don't want to be in right now. So money goals, of course, I would also, not make money, everything to you, but because then you'll be involved in some nefarious activities, and we don't want to do that either. We want this to be a lifelong career for you. So just make sure that your money goals align with your actual values and actual goals. But I'm just letting you know, have a certain income in mind and make sure you stick to it. What I used to do is I used to have a piece of paper when I was within the 600, $700 net worth range, and I would put down by July at a certain time that I'm going to make $250,000 a year. At the time, that was I would not even have thought that I could get close to that amount, right? At that time, I had no idea. But call it manifestation, call it whatever you want, but I did that to make it a habit and to be intentional. Intentionality is what's going to push you forward, right? All the small things, the sacrifices you have to make. So what I did is I put that under my pillow every night. I woke, did a little thing, woke up, looked at the thing. I'm like, all right. After a while, you get a little sick of it, but it's always in the forefront of your mind. I have to get to 250, or in your case, whatever. I have to get to 50,000. I have to get to 100,000, whatever the case is. At the very least, six figures, and then work backwards from there, right? So money goals are definitely something that you should have. Community, okay? So in such an isolated world, we want community, okay? Now, you can create your own community while making money. How fun is that? Not only are you not lonely, you have purpose in life, you have freedom to do what you want to do, and also now you have money, right? If you do everything the right way. So, again, I know that these are, sort of the shiny object syndromes, but I just wanted to give you just some, things that you guys might care about. Those are the four things I would focus on: purpose, freedom, money goals, and community. Okay. So, how you can get started in the insurance world, or started with me if you want. First we would do sort of a what's your situation right now? How's the money situation looking? Do you have more time or money to spend on your business? Do you even want to be a business? Do you just need a job? Are you more of a, we do, of course, testing. Are you more of a customer service kind of person? Are you more of a sales kind of person? Are you more of a combination of both? Are you more of a, I don't have any people skills? That's sort of what we screen initially. And then, of course, after that, there's going to be trainings, one-on-ones, even universities that we give out for free, things like that. If you have any reputable insurance agency that you work with, these are basics, right? This is the least that we offer. Really, it's up to you. Again, I'm gonna really hone down. If you got anything from this video, one thing is have self-reliance, because that will lead to those four things that I just mentioned to you. If you have self-reliance, especially if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, and even if you're a W-2, you should have some kind of self-reliance, not ask your manager, your boss for every single thing, even though they will answer it. It's very easy to also look these things up in our generation now, right? So, again, guys, If you want to be an independent agent, use your creativity, have intentionality, and just do the right thing, right? Do the right thing, and all will go well. Of course, you are going to have your humps. You're going to have your low points. Those low points are what actually makes or breaks you, right? 1 out of 10 people actually make it in the insurance industry. I believe the number for entrepreneurs are close to that too. I think it's 2 to 3 out of 10 that survive more than 5 years as a business. So those are odds that are completely against us. Now, in order for you to have better odds, get a good mentor. Again, have your mind right, have your body right, have your spirit right, and then that'll open you up to have a learning mentality. ABL, people always say ABC, always be closed. Always be learning. Be open to learning. Ask questions and be inquisitive for the rest of your life. I am still asking questions. I have no shame in my game to ask any questions. So, in the case that you do, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my number is 323-844-8471. If you just need a pump up or if you just need some kind of advice on any of the scenarios and any of the topics that I just covered, feel free to reach out to me. I am, again, very passionate about helping people. Again, that's one of my whys. So more than happy to help you out as well too. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I know there was a lot of ranting on my end, but I just wanted to really lock in what it takes to be an entrepreneur and give my side of the story. So thanks for watching, guys.